So yesterday we read through. ठीक है, अच्छा हो गया. राधे 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 राधे. Jai Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Shyam. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Okay. So we read from the 3rd verse yesterday. Actually, here in India, it's really wonderful because if there's a big crowd and they suddenly pick out someone to touch their feet, then the whole crowd goes. It's like you're being proclaimed the guru now. They just, they tend to follow like that. Actually, in Durvasa Rishi Ashram, where I lived before, once the pujari there, he had collected some stones to throw at the dogs, because the dogs come in the temple gate. So he threw those stones around a tree in the center of the courtyard. And then after about 2 or 3 days, one lady came out and she threw some colored dye over the stones. And now every day, all the villagers come and worship the stones. Their faith is pliable. So yesterday we read from verse 3, now we're doing verse 4. Nakalu Gopika Nandano Bhavan Akila Dehina Antarat Madrik Vikasaratito Vishwaguptaye Sukhamudaivan Sattvatam Kule. O friend, it is absolutely certain that you are not only the son of Yashoda, you are also the Supersoul who resides in the heart of all living beings. In response to the prayer of Lord Brahma, you have appeared in the dynasty of devotees in order to protect the universe. You see what's happened now in the previous verses. The gopis in their lamentation were expressing angry moods towards Krishna. They were angry with him. But now they've suddenly thought, what happens if Krishna leaves us altogether? And if he says, I don't like your angry words, I'm going to go away and never see you again. So now in this verse, they become more submissive and contrary, and they're trying to beg forgiveness for their harsh words previously. Now Gurudev comments. It's not actually, Gurudev is commenting, but he's taking the commentary directly from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is the Rasa Acharya, and also whatever is left over from Jiva Goswami. So this is actually who we're getting, but we're getting it in a package directly. If you are a Gurudev disciple, then these words will have great power in our hearts. If we read other translations and other commentaries and so on, it may have some extra sensational part of a story or something like that, but you won't get the same type of bhav as we'll get directly from reading it from Srila Gurudev. You're Gurudev disciple, right?
I'm actually initiated one of Maharaj.
Oh, really? So that's the same. That's like that. Same. Okay. It's like I feel like I'm a Prabhupada disciple even though I joined in 1979. So I never met him, but I always feel very connected with him. In his commentaries on the 2nd and 3rd verses of Gopi-gita, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained the gopis' accusations and Krishna's retorts. In the 2nd verse, the gopis said, "Do not incur sin by killing millions of gopis with the arrows of your glances. If someone kills us outright, then so be it. But if we neither live nor die, the intolerable agony we feel is much worse than death itself." Then, in the 3rd verse, they accused him of being a betrayer betrayer of their faith. Krishna replied, "You have called me a murderer of women and a betrayer of faith. You said that I want to kill millions of gopis, and that if I do not come and meet with you, I will have to suffer all sorts of sinful reactions. Why do you speak such cruel words to me? I cannot bear the anguish such piercing words cause me. I am leaving this place immediately and will not return in this lifetime." Seeing Sri Krishna's face so filled with pain, the gopis feared he had become angry. What will happen if he does not return, they wondered. Their own anger subsided, and they now speak the present verse. "It was our mistake to carelessly speak those words," they tell him. "Really, you are our friend." They express a variety of moods to make him pleased with them. Nakalo Gopika Nandano Bhavan. Kalo means surely. Gopika Nandana refers to Yashodananda, the son of Yashoda, and Bhavan means you, Krishna. The gopis say, "You are certainly not the son of Yashoda." Akila Dehinam means for all beings, and Antaratma Drik means Paramatma, the Supersoul, the partial expansion of Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart. As the constant witness of everyone's activities, Paramatma awards the consequences of one's good and bad activities, and at the same time, he remains completely neutral. He's a witness. Antaryami actually means to witness. He doesn't intervene at all. Supersoul can sometimes influence us or direct us, but he never tampers with our independence. Just like Srila Gurudev, unless you're totally surrendered to Gurudev, then he won't really tell you or direct you firmly what you should do. He'll only encourage you to go in the correct path, because even Krishna himself respects the jiva's independence, in the sense that the jiva can go whichever way he wants. He can go towards Krishna or not. This jewel of independence is very important to consider, because actually all Gurudev ever wants from us is that jewel of independence, for us to give it to him. But usually we don't want to. We have our own mind, our own desires, our own comforts, our own thoughts, our own places where we want to be, and we don't want to be moved from there. So it's this point of independence, offering it to Gurudev, that is our process, in fact, to try and purify that, to bring it in line with what Srila Gurudev wants from us to do. And this is a sadhana that we have to perform every single day. Paramatma awards the consequences of one's good and bad activities, and at the same time, he remains completely neutral. He is not personally entangled in the good or bad results of anyone's activities. It's described in the scripture. It's like two birds sitting in a tree. One bird is like the supersoul, the other bird is like the jiva. The jiva is eating all the fruits, and the other bird is just sitting quietly watching him eating all the fruits. But he's not intervening, he's not stopping him from doing it. This is the nature of supersoul. But once we start to go on the path towards Krishna, then supersoul can actually, or yoga maya, in a sense, it's like Mahamaya is what we are attracted to in the material world. But yoga maya is what comes into play when we start walking on this path. If you start walking carefully on this path of pure sadhana, then yoga maya can make so many arrangements for its auspiciousness, and everything can be completely successful. So then Mahamaya recedes in the background.
I think Prabhupada one time said that the super soul, if you're going to do something that's not good for you, in your consciousness will tell you don't do that.
Yes, it can do. It's the power to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. Srila Jiva Goswami, he said that all of us inherently know what is right and what is wrong. Intuitively, everyone knows that. What is the right behavior and what is the wrong behavior. We all have that internally. So that is like the Supersoul. The Supersoul is all pure. The Supersoul actually is not eternal. Supersoul, Gurudev describes, is manifest when Mahavishnu impregnates the Adara Shakti with the Jiva and time. It's not, and when again Mahavishnu inhales and all the universes and the Jivas come back into his body, then where is Paramatma, where is Supersoul, is no longer there. So Supersoul is not an eternal entity, but in the heart of the Jiva, it's the presence of Krishna. So in that sense, it has an eternality. But ultimately, Paramatma, it's described.
Can I say something Buddha said about Super Soul? Should I come here?
Just speak. I can hear you.
Yeah. He says that one should not think that there are jivas and one separate super soul. Like I have one super soul, you have one super soul, he has one super soul, like that. Jiva is one and super soul is pervading all the jiva at one same time.
Yeah.
He said this one.
And also he says in Bhagavad-gita, in about the 8th chapter, he's describing Paramatma Antaryami, and he's saying there that Supersoul is not eternal. He's explaining that, and also he's explained that Guru, Sadguru, will replace the work of Paramatma individually. But for the relationship of the individual, we naturally feel, oh, Krishna is mine. So I'm feeling some sambandha with an individual even though Supersoul can be like the sun, all pervasive, but the consciousness of the Jiva is not thinking like that. He's thinking that, oh, I have Supersoul directing me internally in all living beings. But as Janaki is saying very clearly, that actually the origin of Supersoul, the Hiranyagarbha of Supersoul, the original, is like one, like the sun pervading down. You can say like Krishna also. He is not personally entangled in the good or bad results of anyone's activities. Vikanashartito Vishvaguptaya. Vikanasha refers to Lord Brahma. Artita means by the prayer, and Vishvaguptaye means for universal protection and welfare. By uttering this phrase, the gopis say, Brahma prayed for the welfare of all the inhabitants of the universe. The gopis' moods constantly change, rising and falling like waves in the ocean. You've just come in, well, you weren't here yesterday or the day before, but the gopis' prayers have been very much accusing Krishna of being a murderer, of being a betrayer, and now in this verse, they suddenly thought that perhaps Krishna will leave them forever, hearing those harsh words. Now they're proclaiming him to be that Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, and they're trying to appease Krishna with their language. And Gurudev is saying how the moods are constantly changing, because before, in the first two verses, or the second and third verse, they were very much in this angry mood. But now they're trying to pacify. Their anger has subsided, and they're now trying to pacify Krishna with their prayers. The gopis' moods constantly change, rising and falling like waves in the ocean. When they address Krishna as Paramatma or as their friend, they are in fact subtly criticizing him. Udayavan Sattvatam Kule. Udayavan means arose like the sun. With these words, the gopis imply, you have come to this world, Sattvatam Kule. Sattvatam Kule has two meanings, the Yadu dynasty and the pure devotees. The gopis have both meanings in mind when they say, you have appeared in the dynasty of Sattvatam, We know that you are the son of Yashoda, they tell Sri Krishna. We have firm belief in that. At the same time, when we perceive your uncommon activities, we tend to accept what Gagaracharya, Bhaguri Rishi, and Purnamasi have told us about you. You are certainly our friend, but you are not merely the son of Yashoda Gopi. They're trying to flatter Krishna. You know, I don't think they really believe this. They do believe that he's just Krishna. But still it's been explained that because they're trying to pacify Krishna, they're proclaiming him to be someone more. Well, who am I then? Krishna asks. Oh, you are the indwelling witness of all souls, the gopis reply. This has been told us by Rishi Bhaguri, Garga, and Purnamasi and others. As the Supersoul, you reside perpetually in the hearts of all, where you witness everyone's deepest feelings and desires. It's actually described that there are 13 witnesses, and one of those witnesses is the Supersoul. There is the sky, the air, water, fire, the moon, the sun, the directions. How many is that? Sky, fire, the day and the night and the evening. These are all eternal witnesses to every single activity we do in this world. Is recorded by the scribe of Yamaraj. And at the time of leaving this body, all of those accounts are brought into consideration to determine our next birth. So everything is under scrutiny. Even our thoughts, because our thoughts very often become demonstrated in some sort of activity. However you're thinking. If you're thinking angrily, then you'll perhaps, kick something or something like that. Anyway, we're not alone. Yamaraj, he listens to what Chitragupta, his scribe, will say, has recorded all about Gopi all through his life. Every single detail is there. We can't escape anything. I mean, with those witnesses, and Supersoul, the point that I'm making, Supersoul is one of these witnesses. It's the 13th. There are 12 witnesses. The sky is witnessing, the sun is witnessing, the moon, the day, the night, the evening, the water, the fire. These are all witnesses to the soul's journey through this life.
They're all in their personal forms.
I don't know, it doesn't say. I've never read that. Tomorrow we're going to read in the 6th canto from the story of Ajamil, where it's describing this, but it doesn't say anything about personal forms. But I assume that they must be in personal forms. As the Supersoul, you reside perpetually in the hearts of all, where you witness everyone's deepest feelings and desires. You reside in our hearts as well, so you must know the depths of our sadness and the misery we feel in separation from you. Therefore, do not be upset with us. Kindly be pleased. You tell me that I am Paramatma and that I reside in everyone's heart, Krishna says. If this were true, how could I have come here before you? I am here and you are seeing me. The witness within everyone's heart is not seen by anyone. Lord Brahma prayed to you and worshipped you for the protection of the entire world, the gopis replied. You became pleased with his worship and assumed a form for the world's protection, but actually you have no material form. O clever gopis, who are expert in rasa, Krishna says, if you know all these profound philosophical truths, that I am the Supersoul, the witness of all, and he who bestows the results of everyone's fruitive activities, why have you spoken to me with piercing words? O Saka, friend, the gopis replied, although you are the Supersoul, in response to the prayers of Brahma to protect the world, you came here to Vrindavan and made us your Sakis. Having obtained a friend like you, we became so pleased that we sank in an ocean of bliss. The familiarity that comes from such intimate friendship blinded us to your real identity, and that is why we spoke in this way. Please consider that we are also within this universe. Protect us as well. Here the gopis imply, we are burning in a great conflagration of separation from you. Please come and meet with us. We are your dearly beloveds, and you are aware of our affliction, but still you remain joyful. We have not seen or heard of anyone in this entire world, demigod, man, serpent, animal, or any other creature who can remain happy in the face of his loved one's distress. Rather, he himself will be overwhelmed by distress and try to relieve his loved one of any suffering. The gopis are trying to apologize, but actually getting angry again. I can sense it, isn't it? It seems that you are different. You witness your dear Sakis drowning in agony, but you remain peaceful. Even the acharyas, they take on the same moves. When Sripad Goswami is speaking in the 10th canto, sometimes he calls Krishna like Hari Sori. He calls him like that Lord of Mathura. He insults him because he's feeling hurt by the feelings of the gopis. He's more in tune with them. And sometimes Gurudev, the acharyas, they speak condemning Krishna.
When we first went to the Bhativedanta temple a long time ago, remember what Gurudev said?
What?
He said, go inside and chastise him. It was so funny, everybody thought, wow. Because he took Krishna's
It seems that you are different. You witness your dearmost Sakis drowning in agony, but you remain peaceful. For this reason, we think that you cannot possibly be the son of Yashoda, who is renowned for her charitable and liberal nature. Gurudev has spoken extensively about the sweetness of Mother Yashoda, of how gentle and how kind she is to all the residents, all the Brijbasis. Her heart is overflowing with sweetness. Gurudev often says, how else could Krishna have got a sweet heart unless it was from his dear mother? It's his mother who's given him the good looks, and she's also given him his sweet nature, who is renowned for her charitable and liberal nature. When she hears about others being even slightly aggrieved, she finds it intolerable. Her heart melts with compassion just to see a person, animal, or bird unhappy. She tries to console them and remove their misery. She is so soft-hearted that she could not possibly have given birth to one as cruel, harsh, merciless, ill-natured, and corrupt as you. We do not detect one single particle of her virtues in you. This verse started off with them being very submissive, but now it's galloping into another place. All right then, Krishna says, if I am not the son of Yashoda and do not have a particle of her good qualities, then who am I? You are the Supersoul, the indwelling witness in everyone's heart. Supersoul, that in this context means something impersonal. It means something that's just like there. It's not a personal form, it's a conception form. In what way am I the Supersoul, Krishna asks. The Supersoul lives in everyone's hearts, the gopis reply. Even if someone is dying, bitterly crying, or rolling on the ground like a fish flapping on dry land, he remains detached and neutral, just like a judge. He will not give that person anything at all to help him, nor will he take anything from him. There is no exchange, like an impersonal relationship. Similarly, you remain content and indifferent to others' sufferings, even if they are so miserable that they are dying. O crest jewel of all neutral personalities, we now understand that you, the Supersoul, have taken birth in Braj, but we cannot understand how or why. We have heard from three authorities, Gargacharya, Bhaguri Rishi, and Purnamasi, that Brahma prayed to you to appear, but that is all we know. Krishna asks, why did Brahma pray to the Why did Brahma pray to the Supersoul, and what was his prayer? The gopis reply, if you had manifested your complete self in this world, and thus revealed your true identity, everyone would know that you are God, and they would perform bhakti to you. Everyone would be liberated from this world, and Brahma's entire creation would be in vain. For this reason, Brahma has implored you to appear, but to conceal your identity, and because of this, you have now come in disguise. Gopis are very clever. Now you have become a thief and a debauchee by mixing with others' wives, and having been well protected from boyhood. You are also a cheater and a liar. When those who have some faith in God discover this about you, instead of practicing bhakti, they will become atheists. Jarasandha and others are example of this. Jarasandha, Karna, Duryodhana were not demons originally. Jarasandha was previously a righteous person, and like Karna, was adorned with the noble qualities of honesty, generosity, and kindness. Narakasura was also not a demon at first, but by the association of Kalyavan and others he became a demon. All these demons had only two faults. They had no friendship with devotees, and they were opposed to Krishna. This makes one a demon. Bhagavatam states, in the 5th canto, 18th chapter, verse 12, it says, Yasyasti bhaktiya bhagavati akinchana. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional qualities and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? That's a very beautiful verse of consideration, that however materially adept one is, or practiced in any profession whatever, they have no real value. It has no value in the world really whatsoever, because it's all based on a material judgment, material situation. The only value is our spirit, is our soul and the spiritual reality. Devotees have 26 commendable qualities. If a person has 25 of these qualities, but not fully surrendered to Krishna, he is still a demon to some extent. For demons can also possess many wonderful qualities. If someone simply surrenders to Krishna, these other virtuous qualities are bound to come to him sooner or later. And even if they do not come, there is no harm. This one quality alone, full surrender to Krishna, is enough to make one a pure devotee. That full surrender means giving our independence to Guru. That's the process. Can we do that? We can do it now, right now. We know what Gurudev wants. He wants the very best for us. He wants us to be happy. Simultaneously, he wants us to follow his teachings. So if we're very carefully following what we're sure that Gurudev wants us to follow, then we can offer our entire independence still, even though he's not present. We can offer our independence to him. Just as Lord Narayan told Shankar, Lord Shiva, to preach in such a way that atheist persons would neither know God nor perform bhakti to him. The gopis say that Brahma prayed to Krishna to appear in this world, but keep his identity secret, so that Brahma's material creation would not come to an end. They taunt Krishna by saying, "You have appeared in the dynasty of the Yadus, the dynasty of saintly devotees, Sattvatam Kule, yet you steal others' wives. This is evidence that you have abandoned the qualities belonging to the Supersoul. You have deviated from your own nature." By addressing Sri Krishna as their friend, the gopis actually tease him, for they imply that it is his impiety and immorality, his meeting with other men's wives, that has made him their friend. "So now you are our friend," they say. Someone who is a friend will want to remove his friend's unhappiness somehow or other, but you are not doing anything to remove our painful feelings of separation. You are indifferent to our suffering. Now we will look at some of the specialities of Srila Jiva Goswami's Sri Vaishnava Toshini. There, Sri Jiva Goswami states that this fourth verse explains the gopis' mood in their glorification of Krishna's extraordinary activities. In verse 3, they told him, "You killed many demons, you lifted Govardhan hill, you gave salvation to Agasura." Now, this fourth verse, they say, "We have therefore decided that you are not an ordinary youth. You are certainly not the son of Yashoda." Now they're saying it differently. Sri Jiva Goswami explains that with these words, the gopis may appear to be presenting Yashoda as inferior, but this is not their intention. They know her as the crest jewel of their community. They are merely implying that she, like them, is a gopi, the wife of a cowherd man, and therefore she cannot possibly be the mother of such an extraordinary personality as Krishna. Krishna cannot be the son of Yashoda or any other gopi. In his commentary, Srila Jiva Goswami gives some additional insights about the gopis addressing Krishna as Paramatma. They say, "As the Supersoul, you reside perpetually in our hearts. You certainly know all of our difficulties and calamities. There is no need to tell you the extent of our grief. No need to tell you how we are ablaze in the fire of separation from you, so you should certainly protect us." By the words, Vikasanartito, Vishvakuntayai, they say, Brahma petitioned you to protect the entire world, and we also belong to the world. So Brahma prayed for us as well. You are obliged to protect us. It may seem that when the gopis tell Krishna, "You are the Supersoul," they are speaking in a mood of awe and reverence, Aishwarya Bhav, and that they believe it, but this is not so. They are simply repeating the utterance of others. It is not their own idea. Whenever they refer to Krishna as the son of Devaki or Vasudeva, or as Brahma, Paramatma, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as they do in Brahma-gita, they are only repeating the words of others. They personally only know him as the son of Yashoda, and nothing more. Moreover, they only speak like this in the sorrow of separation from him, not when they are feeling happy and satisfied. None of the inhabitants of Braj speak like this unless they are grieving. For example, Nanda Baba spoke like this when Uddhava came to Braj. He did not believe that his son was God. Rather, he told Uddhava with sarcasm, "You say that my boy is God. He is God. If he is really God, he should try to give us salvation or some other boon. If in fact he is God, may he be pleased with us. In speaking these words, Nanda Baba's mood is similar to that of the gopis. No one can believe in Braj that Krishna is God. How can God steal butter? How can he lie? How can he do all the naughty things that they see him do? This is so important to appreciate the mood of the Brijabasis. In our chanting, in our meditation, the Brijabasis are our worshipable Easter names. This is who we are trying to communicate, connect with, is the Brijabasis. What are their feelings? And none of them for a single moment think that Krishna is that Supreme Lord. It is essential that we realize at the same time that Aishwarya is even higher than that in Vaikuntha, but it's covered with such an amazing amount more prema. It is essential to know the distinction between Aishwarya, meaning the worship of Sri Krishna's opulent manifestation in a mood of awe and reverence, and Madhurya, intimate loving service to his sweet, human-like form. The Lord's pastimes in Braj are always human-like, Naravat, whether they display opulence or not. This is the criteria of Madhurya. On the other hand, whether or not there is a display of opulence, when his pastimes are beyond the limit of Naralila, then they are called Aishwarya. The abounding opulence displayed by Krishna in his Madhurya pastimes in Braj does not even slightly impede the sweetness and intimacy of those pastimes, because the residents of Braj are always without a tinge of awe and reverence towards him. In the eyes of the gopis, Sri Yashoda, his friends, and all the other Brijabasis, he is an ordinary cowherd boy. Although all the Brijabasis saw him lift Giriraj Govardhan with only one finger, not one of them thought for a moment that he was God. Instead they thought, Narayan has come and has lifted up the mountain. They could not imagine that he had personally performed this feat. In other words, the Aishwarya mood is seen by the onlookers of that pastime, just like Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, when he was showering fountains of water, of tears out of his eyes. The people were thinking, oh, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it was not Madhurya. Puridam is an Aishwarya place. It's like Dwarka. So because they were seeing it like that, then they were understanding that this is the Supreme Lord. They were thinking this is Krishna. Even though Mahaprabhu had come in a covered form, they were still thinking that this was more than just an ordinary person. Whereas in Braj, he lifts a whole mountain and they still don't think that's God. The cowherd boys held their sticks upright under the base of Giriraj Govardhan and considered that they themselves were lifting him. There is far more Aishwarya in Vrindavan than in Vaikuntha or Dwarka, but in Vrindavan all Aishwarya is covered by Madhurya. For example, when Sri Krishna killed Aghasura, it was not an insignificant act. That pastime contained much Aishwarya. Still, the Brijabasis did not think Krishna to be God. They simply thought Narayan has performed this deed. This is such a huge point to consider. It's over and over and over and over and over again. When we read the Damodarastakam, it's throughout the same point, that how could Mother Yashoda bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How is it possible? So again, a discussion comes about the difference between Madhurya and Aishwarya. And if you read that Ratha Yatra book, also in the 6th chapter, Gurudev is explaining so much about the difference between Aishwarya and Madhurya.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe.
There is far more Aishwarya in Vrindavan than in Vaikuntha. or Dwarka, but in Vrindavan all Aishwarya is covered by Madhurya. For example, when Sri Krishna killed Aghasura, it was not an insignificant act. That pastime contained much Aishwarya. Still, the Brajvasis did not think Krishna to be God. They simply thought Narayan has performed this deed. Srila Jiva Goswami gives an additional explanation of Kuru. Certainly, in the first line of this verse, Nakalu Gopika Nandano, the gopis say, you are certainly the son of Yashoda, and yet at the same time you are Paramatma. How is this possible? Brahma has prayed to you, Paramatma, and you have therefore appeared in this world in the form of Yashoda's son. He prayed to you to come and keep the world safe and nourished. We are also in this world, so you should protect and nourish us as well. There is another speciality in Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary, wherein he discusses the word na, not. He explains that na, which is seen only in the beginning of the first line, may be applied to all four lines as follows. Na kalu gopika nanda, you are not the son of Yashoda. Na akile dehinam, atmaratma drink. You are not the indwelling supersoul of all living entities. Na vikanashito vishvakuntaya. Brahma has not prayed to you to protect the universe. Na udivan sattvatam kule. You could not have come in the dynasty of devotees. With Na common into all four lines, each line can be explained in this way. You are not the son of Yashoda, but the indwelling witness in the hearts of all entities. This is evidence in your cruelty and heartlessness. Na akili devinam antaratmatrim. Actually, you are not Paramatma. Paramatma knows everyone's happiness and distress, but you do not know the extent of the pain in our hearts. Na vigashartito vishvakuteye. It cannot be true that Brahma prayed to you to come and protect this universe. If you had come in response to his prayer, you would actually protect everyone, including us. Na udayevan sattvatam kule. You could not have appeared in the dynasty of devotees. Why do you say this? Because we see that you have none of the qualities of a devotee. So this verse began with the gopis being in a very submissive mood to Krishna, but actually in the commentary it seems that all of their anger with Krishna or their disturbance with Krishna has again arisen. So that's the end of the explanation of the fourth verse. So I'll read a little bit of this fifth verse now. Virachita vaya vrishni duryate charanam iyusha samsprite vayat karasaroha kantakavada sirasi devina shrikaragaham. O Christ jewel of the Yadu dynasty, O beloved, your lotus hand grants fearlessness to those souls who, terrified of the cycle of birth and death, surrender to your lotus feet. O fulfiller of our desires, please place on our heads that very lotus hand, which grants fearlessness and which accepted both the hands of Lakshmi. Gurudev's commentary. The gopis say to Krishna, O Krishna jewel of the Vrishni dynasty, Vrishni Duraya, O dear most beloved Kanta, O you whose lotus hand fulfills all desires, Kamada, we are now extremely frightened, Virinchita Vayam. Those who are perplexed and frightened by worldly affairs approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to become free from the repetition of birth and death, samsmriti. In this cycle, there are 6 phases of transformation: taking birth, existing, growing, producing byproducts, children, deteriorating, and death. After the age of 50, all aspects of the body and mind gradually become worn and torn. Great. The eyes, teeth, ears, mind, mental faculties, and all other senses become gradually discrepant. At that time, one cannot even enjoy delicious foods because he is not able to properly digest. Srila Bhativedanta has sung Vrindavan Ailola Shava Shuka Bagala Bhogava Dukita. I want to enjoy material happiness, but I cannot, and this causes me overwhelming sorrow. That must be so painful to be a materialist. Because that must be so painful being a materialist and still wanting to enjoy over the age of 50. As a devotee, it's not like that at all. Actually, a maturity comes with a devotee's practices. He's not so intimidated by so many of the various aspects of sadhana. He follows with great happiness and joy. And he finds that actually his understanding of what it means to be a devotee is becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. These truths are starting to be realized to some degree in the heart. I think that with devotees, old age is the most wonderful thing, because we don't actually grow old anyway. We remain like Srila Gurudev was like a 16-year-old boy. So many times I would see him so vigorous, in walking and chastising and doing things. So, for the devotees, it's not like this. I want to enjoy material happiness, but I cannot. Which devotee wants to enjoy material happiness? We're trying to purify that desire to want to enjoy material happiness. So with the body aging and we find that we can't, that's greatly to our advantage. So we have to eat less. We don't eat such opulent prasad and so on. That saves us, a whole lot of trouble cooking or whatever, digesting. Growing old as a devotee is no problem. I don't have a problem with that. Even Kasturi here, she's so old, really, but she just ran around Govardhan Hill the other day. I mean, it's amazing. Ask her, she doesn't feel like, I won't even say her age, because even materialistic people might think it's embarrassing, but it's not, really. Anyway, it's a very wonderful thing. Again, birth, again death, again lying in the womb of a mother. This is samsmriti, traversing material existence. If we're not afraid of these things, the devotees, if we're not afraid of old age, and why should we be? In old age, everything becomes easier as a devotee. We become more regulated, more practiced. We're not confused about so many things we were previously confused. Our passions and ambitions aren't so extreme. We're much more calm internally. It's like, who could say there's a problem as a devotee? What do you think, Yasheshwari? You don't look like a young sprite, but anyway, Yes, completely. Growing younger, yeah. In the material world, you can't even talk like this because they get so embarrassed about age. I have to see on my phone sometimes, Facebook, and so many people are not putting the year of their birth. What's the big embarrassment about the age? It's remarkable, but as a devotee, we're actually proud of our ages. If you're 74 years old and you look like a 25-year-old, what's the problem? The meaning of samsmriti also has relation to the word braja, which means that which moves around. This type of samsmriti takes us towards Krishna and the full happiness of Braj. One samsmriti takes us to hell and complete destruction, and the other moves us in the opposite direction and takes us to Braja. Devotees of Krishna, whose aim is to loosen their attachment to the material world, circumambulate Gurudev, Vaishnavas, the deity, and Tulsi in a clockwise direction. Those who are tightening their attachment, however, circumambulate in an anti-clockwise direction, such as an Indian marriage ceremony, where the bride and groom walk counterclockwise around the fire. Is that right, Janaki? When you have a marriage, you walk counterclockwise around. No. I think in devotee marriages they walk clockwise. Gurudev describes that Muslims walk counterclockwise. He's always saying like that. Anyway, I didn't know that. Clockwise, yeah. The gopis say, Charanam ishyam samsmite vayat. If someone takes full shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he places his liberal hand on that person's head, then automatically that person becomes fearless, Amaya. Kanta Karmadam, O beloved, you fulfill all desires, so please keep your lotus hand upon our head. Now we will turn to the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He has explained that in the previous verses, Sri Krishna heard everything the gopis were telling him. Thus, when they called him a betrayer of faith and a sinful killer of women, he told them, I am leaving this place immediately and will not return in this birth. The gopis then became fearful. Therefore, in the fourth verse, it is seen that they tried to appease him by addressing him as friend and begging him not to go. Gratified by their appeal, Krishna told them, O gopis, I have heard your words of sweet criticism. I know that they were not abuse, but an expression of your intimate feelings, spoken in the anger of pure love. While you were calling me a cheat and a debauchee, I was standing nearby, eager to drink the nectar of your every word. I am so pleased with you that I will now offer you a boon. You may ask anything from me. Tell me what you desire, and I will grant you that. Now, gladdened by Krishna's statement, the gopis entreat him in this fifth verse. O most magnanimous personality in the entire Vrishi and Yadu dynasties, you are the brilliant sun that illuminates the lotus flower of the Yadu dynasty. Please place your lotus hand on our heads. Why do they ask for this? A man's love and affection for his subordinates, such as his child, disciple, junior, or anyone who comes to him for shelter, will be shown by his placing his hand on that person's head. By this he communicates, I will give you whatever you want. We learn from Sri Bhakti Ratnaka and Sri Navadvip Dal Mahatmya that Nityananda Prabhu placed his lotus feet on the heads of Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and he also bestowed such mercy upon Srila Jiva Goswami. He could do this because he is Guru. He did not do this in his form as Sri Baladev, but as the all-merciful Nityananda Prabhu. He placed his lotus feet on the heads of many devotees. Chaitanya Nityanande Nahi Evo Vichara Nama Laite Prema Dena Vihe Ashur Dara. But if one only chants with some slight faith the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, very quickly he is cleansed of his offenses. Thus, as soon as he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he feels the ecstasy of love for God. We may live in Vrindavan and call out, O Krishna, 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 but tears do not fall from our eyes, and our hearts do not melt. On the other hand, if we go to Navadvip Dham and cry out, O Gora, O Nityananda, I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai, and all the other demons, then Sri Gauranga and Nityananda Prabhu will surely bestow their astonishing, causeless mercy upon us. We can beseech Nityananda Prabhu in this way. Jagai and Madai persecuted you, but you gave them your mercy, and they began to chant, Krishna, Krishna. Both of them wept loudly, and their hearts melted. But I am even more sinful than Jagai and Madai. Nityananda Prabhu is our only true shelter. If we want to pray, we need only approach his lotus feet. Nityananda Prabhu comes to us through our Guru, and he is the complete and undivided principle of Sri Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva. Therefore, Sri Guru is the repository of the qualities of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. It is a great solace that our Gurudev is his manifestation. For example, in a marvelous way, Param Pujapad Sri Bhativedanta Swami Maharaj gave mercy to many drunkards and cheaters who were disqualified in every way. He placed his hand on the heads of whoever came to him. He was so liberal that he even told them, "Oh, you want a wife? I will arrange everything." By his mercy, he thought, somehow or other, these people should come and taste the nectar of Krishna Nam. By this, they will surely leave behind all their material attachments. If not in this birth, then in 2 or 3 births from now. Thus, by the grace of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, they will become pure. Now, in this 5th verse of Gopi-gita, the gopis implore Krishna, your lotus hand fulfill all of our desires, so please grant us fearlessness by placing it on our heads. What do the gopis fear? They fear burning in the blazing fire of Kama because Krishna is not with them. They think if Krishna comes into our midst, we will be out of danger. He will certainly dance with us and perform all varieties of loving pastimes with us. The gopis ask Krishna to place his hand on their heads, but in response he asks them, how can I ever do that? It is not possible for me to perform the sinful act of placing my hand on the heads of others' wives. As mentioned above, the gopis first address Krishna as Kanta, beloved, and then as Kamadar, he whose lotus hand awards the fulfillment of all desires, or he whose lotus hand gives calm. In this way they say, you told us we can ask a boon from you, and we know you have the power to give that boon. We have come to you because the 5 arrows of Kamadev have pierced our hearts, leaving us on the verge of death. The Supreme Personality of Godhead places his hand on the heads of those who take shelter of his lotus feet. All living entities who are bound up in the cycle of birth and death want freedom from fear of remaining in that cycle. For someone who takes shelter of you, all his suffering disappears automatically, and he becomes fearless, confident that he will never again become bound up in worldly enjoyment. So we have surrendered unto you, unto your feet, knowing that your lotus hand will surely fulfill our desires. If you put your hand on our heads, the burning fire of Kama will disappear from our hearts. But not only that, we will no longer feel separation from you. We always fear that you will leave us. If you keep your lotus hand on our heads, we will know for certain that you will never leave us, and that you will always be with us. Conditioned souls want to become free from the cycle of birth and death, but the gopis' only desire is to be free from the fear of separation from Krishna. Krishna may tell them, you say you want me to protect you from Kama, but Kama lives in the heart. If what you say is correct, why should I place my hand on your heads? Should I not place it where Kama is present? That desire is in me. That desire is in me, and I think you also have the same desire. In response to this, they say, Shrikara Graham. As you have taken the hand of Sri Lakshmi in marriage, which means that you will never leave her, we want you to place your hands in. We want to place our hands in your hands, not what you suggest. Even if you want to place your hand on the breast of Lakshmi, she will not allow you to do so. Similarly, do not put your hand on our bodies, only on our heads. So that's the end of the 5th verse. Gopi-gita. Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki Jai. Radha Gopinath Ju ki Jai.